This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit, and today I am going to talk about, I think, three subjects, really. I wanted to talk about ease, but I felt like I also needed to bring in a couple other subjects to go along with it, which would be expectation and intention, and the difference between those two in relationship to ease. So this little map I drew here is of the woods that I went out to, even though these trees don't have leaves on them right now. And there's lots and lots of animal tracks out there. And I followed some of them. And I noticed that the tracks pretty much go on a path of ease. For the most part. Maybe not necessarily the easiest path for me, but for whichever animal was traveling, it would go on the path of ease. And there's a big, in the woods, there's a big pile of brush that was pushed in. We live on a farm, and so one of the farmers was clearing some of the overgrowing trees, pushed them and piled them up. So there's a big pile in the woods, and none of the tracks really go over that pile. It would be too much of a, it wouldn't be easy. So that's my little drawing for the subject today. But I'm actually bringing up the subject not so much because of my experience out in the woods, but because I'm kind of in a place where I'm making a decision, I guess you could say. And I'm realizing that what I want most is ease. And the choice that I make, not necessarily the having the choice be easy. Yeah, I guess it is. You know, this subject, I've talked about this in the past, that, you know, when I'm picking a subject, it's really something I'm looking to explore. It's not like I have a particular answer to it. I'm exploring the question myself and seeing what I come up with. And let's see here. I want to kind of break open this space here. I'm getting a little caught up in my conversation. I want to get into this painting. I chose a different surface to paint on. I've been painting on canvas. I started these out using a surface that I've adapted for my paintings with the intention of having a lightweight surface, stable surface, easy to carry with me out on the trail, lightweight, stable. Using wood for stretchers, I've found, isn't always stable. There's a lot of effort involved in making it stable. Anyway, this surface that I'm using is called PVC panel, and it's a material you can get in the sign industry. And it is stable, and it's archival, and works well with the acrylics that I'm using. I don't know, I doubt I would use it with oils, but I suppose if you took care of getting the surface sealed properly, which I do anyway, you'd probably be fine using this with oils, but I like the surface. I like how it flows. There's a flow to the surface. It's a smooth surface. And let's see here. What can we do to have fun with this? I want to take advantage of that. Let's see what happens when I really move the paint around and just play with painting today. Trying to get into the space of this painting. It was kind of on the surface, and I just saw something open up there. Seemed like, let's do a little drawing here. So back to the subject of ease and intention versus expectation. A lot of times can have an expectation for something, and that turns into a sense of wanting to control the outcome, and it goes kind of counter to sometimes ease. Make something more difficult than it really needs to be. Actually, yesterday I was painting a landscape and just started out with some colors, and I painted on it just a little bit after the video stopped, and I noticed there was a part of me that was wanting to get it to look exactly like the photo that I was working from. Not so much exactly, but there were some colors happening in the photo that I found myself moving in that direction of trying to meet that expectation. But there were other colors happening that were kind of unexpected, and it made the painting much more alive to me than if I were trying to match the colors that were happening in the photo. So my intention for art, I keep coming back to this intention of having life in the painting. And that opens things up, having a kind of a general intention, opens things up to, if the path that I'm on takes a turn, seems to be the easier path. As long as that intention that I have of it having life is in place, I'm using that as my guide. Exploration, there's lots of general intentions I have for artwork. And those can shift and change too. But when I get into the hard expectations, that's when I usually end up in frustration. And I also get into this place of wanting to control things that maybe I don't necessarily have the ability to control. And that can happen in relationships. Trying to control outcomes of things that I can't predict. If I'm sharing my intentions with sincerity, honesty, there's an ease that happens, whether it's in my painting or in life. I just like this clarification between the two. I think it's kind kind of helping me with this choice that I'm right now in the middle of making in my life. Just talking about it here and now. Connecting it with what happens in painting, what happens in nature. The animals in nature, they're operating on that, I think. Ease becomes the driving force of nature, I think. I'm not a naturalist. I haven't studied nature the way some other people might have, so they might have a different opinion about that, but it seems to me that there's more of a flow, not this need to control that happens in nature. And it's where I want to be with my painting. So I think it's a worthwhile distinction to make. I'm talking about ease. You know, it was on Sunday that I went out to the woods for the first time this winter. These particular woods. I've gone out to the sugar bush, which is a little bit closer. And the woods that I went to on Sunday, and I mentioned I could feel a little bit of soreness, a good soreness in my area of one of my legs. And I wanted to keep that momentum of that enjoyment I found of going out to the woods. So yesterday, after lunch, I decided to take another hike out there. And my leg was much more sore. My expectations were a little bit different. I had expectations that were pretty much just getting out into the woods. Wasn't a whole lot of expectations on Sunday. But because I had that experience on Sunday, I think I probably had a little more expectation for myself, but not much. Anyway, the leg, that soreness was really sore yesterday. But if I let that be my driving force, so that's not necessarily what I'm pointing at when I'm talking about ease, because it wasn't as easy to go out there yesterday, but I did have an intention for that aliveness that I felt on Sunday. Just like that, I have that intention for my painting, my art, to have that aliveness, to explore things like I'm doing here, exploring colors, really building up the paint. I thought I would be working a little more smoothly with my painting today, because I'm on a different surface today than the canvas, but it's getting really thick. Anyway, this morning when I was practicing Tai Chi, that soreness has gone away. So that's good. Not gonna let that stop me. I'll continue to go out to the woods and enjoy that. Well, that's my little talk about ease today. And see if you can bring ease into your life, into your art. Get out your own brushes. Explore the difference between expectation and intention with whatever you're creating. See if you can find a difference. I think I'm finding a little bit of a difference in the two, just in my conversation today. So I'll see how that works for me. You see how it works for you, and I'll see you tomorrow.